The Dow Jones right now is not Bitcoin. I know it's not Bitcoin, but why do I have this beautiful chart? See that? Here, let's make it even prettier. Beautiful, clearly labeled chart for everybody in the world to see. Who wants to? Because I had this on the live stream today. But these beautiful charts, that's always a reminder to hit the thumbs up for your content creator. And if you're new, hit the subscribe button, because you're not going to see charts this perfectly clear, perfectly labeled anywhere else. And definitely, if you ever do, it's not going to be as pretty as and clear as this. So why is the Dow Jones something of interest for me? And what bearings or what effect will it have on Bitcoin? And when can we know? Are you ready to get all that info? Let's get it. Here we go. If you want to copy this chart, the current trading channel at which price is at the bottom is started back on October 3rd. I am on the 1 hour chart. It should all fit on the 1 hour chart because this trades a lot less than Bitcoin, right? So even though the S&P 500 has been around a long time, this is Dow Jones, but for example, S&P 500 has been around a long time, but Bitcoin has traded more hourly candles than all history of the S&P 500 in its total existence, because Bitcoin doesn't sleep, right? And it adds up really quickly on the hours. So you might just, I really suggest copying this. What is this line here? We're going to get to, how this is going to affect everything here. But let's go to the 12-hour chart. So this line here gets all of the tops since the all-time high right here. Okay, and I have it on a channel because some of them, let's zoom in one to here, and let's zoom in right there on a really small time frame, like, I don't know, like the 5-minute chart. Here's why I didn't make it just a single straight line. Maybe. There it is. Oh, it won't let me go back any farther than that on the 5-minute. You son of a gun. All right, 15-minute chart. There we go. Let's zoom way. Hit the top of it. So it went over an origin line, hit the top. Do the other one. Hit the bottom. Very precisely. So therefore, I didn't make it a single line because it could hit either or hit in the middle if it hits there. Does that make sense? So that goes from the all-time high. That's what that key line is. Back to the 1 hour chart so we can see what's happening here. Okay, so now that we have our, like your wrestling setup done, we understand what we're looking at in general. Now let's understand why this is important and what bearing it'll have on Bitcoin. I'm telling you, this might be, one of the best charts to look at for crypto and Bitcoin, type of stuff. All right, so a Bitcoin and crypto rally is going to be dependent on the stock market, as anybody who's not under a rock knows. You should know that. It's extremely unlikely that crypto rallies without the stock market. And the last time that an exception to that rule happened, actually, no, there was an exception, because the altcoin rally that happened because of the Ethereum merge leading into September. So it was, the altcoins were bullish early August through September 15th of 2022. The top of that rally in the stock market was like August 20th. So it all happened concurrently. Like, it all happened together. So like, actually, even the Ethereum merge did not break any rules. And traditional finance whales probably wouldn't have pumped altcoins in Ethereum as much had the stock market not been going up as much. Probably wouldn't have happened. Now, I don't think an Ethereum merge led the stock market to pump. It's like oil. It facilitated it, right? And if you don't know this, I mean, you need to, I would hate to ask anybody to blindly trust something, because that's horrible advice. But I don't know. It's just DYOR. It's accurate. Okay. With that said, this is an origin line right here. How has price interacted with it? On that same August rally, got rejected by it. See that? How long has it been since price has been above it? Since April. So looking at it like this, it went from origin line past another origin line here. So see how this origin line here and origin line there bounced on one origin line perfectly twice. So you realize that these are real. Okay, take a look. Does this line look real? That line was there before it hit. Does this line look real? That line was there before it hit. All right, so, and it used this channel to climb up above another, I guess, halfway origin line, and it is now possibly wanting to flirt with this origin line here. But you have a big correction that took out a low, so what's happening? All right, so now, okay, now we know what we're looking at, but we don't know why it's important, how it's connected to Bitcoin, or, well, how it's going to influence Bitcoin. December 13th, 14th, 15th, huge economic news. The real market move, and with continuation, right? So trading 1 hour candles and above. You're not gonna get a tradable move, likely, until after that, if you're trading larger candles, which means price is going to be massaged. It's going to be nudged in the right direction until the 13th. Why? Why is that the case? It's because, just like we go over on my channel every time, and I've been right, I think the last 3 times, almost to the dollar. I don't know if it's luck or what, but I don't know. I've done a very good job with what I'm about to say. Can I say that about everything? No. I mean, my wife's mad at me right now, so I'm not doing a good job with that. Nah, she's not that mad, but she's mad. Anyway, what's happening in the market right now with this nudge and massage, right, is the big play is going to be there after the 15th, but the 13th and 14th is the license to kill, or license for bi-directional volatility, essentially making a circus out of the charts. You know, those Batman fractals and straight up, straight down, and Bart fractals or Bart patterns and all that? That's what I'm talking about. That's on the so put it on your calendar. Remember, 13th, 14th, 15th of this month. But until that license to kill, okay, happens, the market, the big bad days, market makers, they're not going to want a strong continuation move like way down here or way up here and then use this as support before, let's say, the 15th here, for example, right? Even though that's probably like the 22nd or something of December. Why not? Why won't they want that? Why would that wait most likely until after the 15th? Because if you get that continuation move, then you are limited for that license to kill to go up and down because you already made a strong move. So any downside move, it often operates under the parameters of higher lows, right? But if it also does this and the big bad days bring it down on the first bi-directional move, and again, this wouldn't happen over days. I'm talking about seconds and hours, right? On those crazy days, 13, 14, 15. So this would happen on like 5-minute chart instead of this, what we're looking at. But if price were to have continuation to the upside, get over this origin line, take out 35,000, for example, or on Bitcoin either, just how these charts move. If it were to do that, okay, like get here during CPI and then goes down, all right, well, that could invite. So this is the second, like the other side of the coin. There, you are also limited because you would invite the wrong bugs to the party that you don't want. You would invite sellers if you go below that key line. You're not just going to wishy-wash on major lines that other smart algos of other highly sophisticated algos from very, well-funded organizations and hedge funds and all that is going to trigger their moves. You don't want to trigger people with money to trade against you, right? So you want to, until that time, keep things in that ether, not Ethereum, but like, you know, in the 1800s, the top scientists thought outer space was filled with ether, right? If you didn't know that, then now you know. And technically, it still might actually be true. We just don't know what it is. It might be dark matter. Who knows? But anyway, so back to Bitcoin and markets and price. But like that ether, you just wanted to kind of glide through there without any major obstacles that would limit you. So typically, they will massage price in that zone so that there's maximum room on both sides for the 13th. And you can't do that if you get a strong continuation move. Is it possible we get strong continuation, you know, before 13, 14, 15? Sure. But they would, the play on CPI and FOMC, you know, it wouldn't be as robust, I guess. It wouldn't be as insane or crazy because there would be limitations. Therefore, there is incentive by big money to keep things in a zone with no continuation. Does that make sense? All right. So with that now said, after the 13th, or I mean, hell, anytime, doesn't matter. But this all up, so from here to, let's say, the 15th here, it's going to zone. You're not going to want to get at this line or on top. You're not going to want to get at this line or below, because then you're limited by this and this, and you can't bump, you can't go like, you know, or let me make myself small. So let's zoom in a little bit. So let's say, what are the big obstacles? The biggest, so the most perfect place for it to be on the 15th, and this is how I've gotten it right 3 times in a row on Bitcoin, like almost to the dollar. It's crazy. But my track record will end. But anyway, this is how I did it. I identify what I think is identifying, but it's been right 3 times in a row, I guess, is what are the big daddy bumpers? Okay, big daddy bumpers. Is this a bumper? Yeah. Is this a bumper? Yeah. Is this a bumper? That's a pretty big bumper. That's even a bigger bumper because it's at the bottom top of the channel. But the origin line is the most macro thing possible. It's more macro than the monthly 10 EMA, or it's more macro than, you know, anything, because it goes back to the beginning of price. So this is the big daddy obstacle. And what did we go over here? This was that all-time high thing, right? So all eyes, no matter how you trade, even retail people are going to be looking at that line. So this is your other big daddy line. So before the 15th or 13th, where would this be to get maximum volatility? In the middle. So that's probably what's going to happen. There's a lot of buildup, wasn't it? So there are lots of ways it can do that. But here's the thing. Bitcoin can't rally until this chart figures out which one it's going to go below or above. Until then, Bitcoin is not going to make a decision either, because this Dow Jones chart is leading the stocks right now. It is the stock leader. Is it usually? No. It's usually SPX or NASDAQ, or the futures of one of those two, right? But this is now leading. Clearly and simply, similar to how sometimes Ethereum leads all of crypto, like during the merge, or some like Litecoin led the market in early 2019. Yeah, early 2019, around February, March, before that massive $400 million market buy candle got priced above the weekly 10. But Litecoin led that. It took turns taking the reins of leadership. So the Dow Jones is doing that right now. So really, I only need the Dow Jones chart for my external information of external pressures on Bitcoin outside of the Bitcoin chart. Does that make sense? All right. And we have other external pressures like FTX, but that's kind of, that could have another surge if something crazy happens, but I don't think that's a current pressure on Bitcoin. So right now, we don't have the most external pressures on Bitcoin is the Dow Jones, even more than the whole SBF, FTX, and exchanges going under, whatever. So there are a few ways that this could go, But in general, I think it's going to be close to the middle. Equidistant on the 13th, somewhere around here. Actually, here, let me put a freaking box. I'll put it on the second half of the day on the 12th to noon on the 13th. Price should hit that. Okay, somewhere in the middle. Let me zoom out, make myself small. Can you make a lot of trades during this? Sure. But in terms of continuation, what's the next move? Where's Bitcoin going next? Are we going to 25K or are we going to 12K? That question is going to be answered by these lines here and here. And that's also why price is most likely to go sideways until the 13th, particularly until the 12th. Sometimes real hot stuff happens the day before CPI. So that'd be the 12th. I think it's Monday the 12th. Yeah, Monday could be a pretty hot day. All right, am I making sense here? That doesn't mean you can't trade, but you just have to trade lower time frames and take profits quickly, and do not expect to be in trades more than 8 to 12 hours. Don't take setups that are going to take 3 days to come to fruition. And if you're not comfortable trading small time frames, then that means you don't trade. That's just what it means, because you're going to be sitting on your freaking hands doing jack shit for a while. If you're like me, and I prefer to trade like the 1 hour chart and stuff, well, I used to. I'm more of a low time frame person now, but so the way I used to trade 1 hour and 4 hour candles and daily candles, I wouldn't be able to trade right now. All right. And so for Bitcoin price now, and again, I strongly recommend you go back on this portion of the video or the stream, draw these lines, make it the same. I'm telling you. Now, you don't have to include all this kind of information here, but you need that line and the channel. All right. Okay. So the way it could get here, it could go out and then come back up, or it could go, get rejected here, then come down. Lots of ways. I just think it's going to hit that. I've gotten it right on so I haven't tried it on the stock market yet, but I got it right 3 times in a row for 3 CPIs in a row. No, one was I think one was a PPI or some type of big event. All right. So now to Bitcoin price. Bitcoin did not hit my 16.7 target when Dow Jones hit that. Why not? I already knew it probably wasn't going to hit it before Bitcoin turned around here. And I'll show you how I knew. Did I know it back here? No. I thought this was the target as Dow Jones is dropping. But somewhere around here, I knew, shit, it's not going to happen. Why? Remember my magic chart that you will not find. So what I'm about to show you, you cannot find it on any other YouTube channel on earth. And if you're somebody who likes the connection between, you pay attention to the connection between traditional markets and Bitcoin, look. Lots of suspense. Okay, I got it up. And no, that's not why my wife is mad at me. All right. Get it? I said, I finally got it up. All right. Is this chart right here? Nope, this is not the right chart. This is the right chart. You will not find this chart anywhere else. And so way I use this chart, even though it looks like price and I have origin lines on it and it behaves like price, it actually respects the same type of levels. If you look left at wicks, that's where it goes. It interacts similarly, but it's not the price of anything. This is simply a graph of the relationship of BTC divided by the stock market squared. That's it. And all it does is it's Bitcoin versus, so you can see it behind me. See that? If you just type that in, it'll pull the chart and hit enter, then the chart will pull up. All right, BTC divided by, that stuff. All right, but what this means is this doesn't mean Bitcoin's going up. It's not what it means. It means Bitcoin, for now, as the stocks are in a downtrend, Bitcoin's making gains and is in uptrends as Bitcoin goes sideways and stocks fall. So if stocks fall, but Bitcoin sideways, what does that mean? Bitcoin's strongly outperforming the stock market and it goes up. It goes up. So what do you think every single one of, what do you think this drop and this drop and this drop and this drop and this drop all were? What do you think they were? Raise your hand. Stop saying the answer's out, Juan. That's when the stock market corrected up. That's when it had a small rally, like on the 4-hour chart for 2 or 3 days or something. Because Bitcoin also went up, but this chart went down because Bitcoin was not going up as fast versus the stock market as it was when the stock market was falling and Bitcoin was sideways, right? But once I saw, so now zoom into here, it was on this candle. Yeah, it was after this, it was after this candle right here, actually. So after it got above the origin line and started making the shape and closed that one candle. So this was at 9 a.m. So yeah, it was in the morning. It was right, unfortunately, it was right after my daily update when I said I think 16.7 is the target. But right after this candle, I knew that this was going to rally, and the stock market's going down. So therefore, when I go back to the Bitcoin chart, I was like, shit, that's not going to get hit. It's just going to go sideways. And that's exactly what it did. All right. So so I use that chart essentially as almost like a stochastic. It's the oscillation of Bitcoin, how it performs versus the stock market. And sometimes you can tell when the stock market's going to turn around from that graph. You really can. Right? So let's go ahead and, because when that graph is going up, the stocks are going down. That's the only time Bitcoin's in an uptrend on that graph is when stocks are going down, Bitcoin's going flat. All right, in a bull market, it'll go up as stocks go up because Bitcoin outperform it, but whatever. All right, so now what is going to happen here is Bitcoin does not have big daddy spot trade traditional markets to lead it. So it's like a dog without its owner on a leash, walking down the road, just chilling, like picking up, eating out of trash cans and stuff. That's Bitcoin right now. It's literally a dog. That's not, it's a dog with an owner who escaped and is just roaming. So with that analogy, Bitcoin, in general, is not going to have any fantastic moves outside of this area, this triangle. Okay. And probably actually this triangle here. It's not going to have any spectacular moves until all that opens up. Because the spot price is going to lead as opposed to futures, which trade at night. So right now you're going to have even though we had sideways here, it looks like the move's going, but the chances of leaving this triangle when traditional markets are not open during the daytime is unlikely, very unlikely. So if Bitcoin were to come up to here or exactly at this intersection, knowing that it's probably not going to leave this triangle, what does that say? Not financial advice, but I personally would take action on that. Personally, me, because that'd be another wick above the monthly open. Now, if I, for example, decided to short and then I saw the monthly open, and you can see the price of that over here, the pink, it's labeled 17,166 is exactly where the month opened, which it looks like a fake out because the month raced up in the last hours to close that high. I think it looks like a fake out. That looks like a trap. It's a bull trap. That's what it looks like to me. This is all going to go down on the 15th or around the 15th or slightly before. All right. So with that said, but how would I maneuver myself if it did hit this? And for example, I took on a short, but then it got here and then got back above this descending line. I'm still in profit, but I would bail. I would get paid to be wrong. Am I making sense there? Because I would assume that, hey, shit, I'm going to be wrong. It's not going to stay in this triangle. If it can hit this, use the monthly open as support, and then get back above this descending line, shit, I would honestly probably flip to a long. Not financial advice to me personally. So right now, my other analyses have covered the longer term stuff. We already know what to expect through freaking New Year on this channel. There are only 3 ways price can move on Bitcoin over the 45-day mentality. And we've already mapped it out multiple times. So on the short-term timeframes, it's just going to be a bunch of this. And it's going to be sideways until the 13th, 15th. So what that means, so a lot of newer people still come on my channel and it's just so frustrating. it's not frustrating that they do it. It's frustrating that I can't make everybody hear at the same time. Or like here, HEAR. Similar to the phrase, it could go up, it could go down, could go sideways. New viewers who don't know a whole lot about price action think that's a stupid comment. Like they come on, they're trying to figure out which TA person to kind of, which is their favorite or who to use as a resource, which is probably takes about 6 months to figure that shit out. I remember back in 2017, it took me a long time. I didn't even understand what the hell everybody was saying. It probably took 6 months. So anyway, but imagine those type of people. They come on my channel and say, "Oh, this guy," you hear a bunch of people say, "It's going up here. This is the target. We are trading up. It's going up. We're bulls," right? Like that's a lot of channels. Or it has broken out of this triangle. I am trading down with $250,000. It's going down, right? So team up and team down, and then you're like, yes, I have a sense of direction. And then a new viewer comes to my channel, I'm like, could go up, could go down, could go sideways. That person's like, screw this, dude. I'm going back to straight up or straight down. Which one? But because they don't understand that it actually means it's a no trade zone. Don't waste your money. Wait for a better setup. Most of the money you're going to lose is when it's because you didn't wait for a good setup. You're not snobby enough. Be a snob. Be a setup snob. Don't take the trade if you don't like it. That's what could go up, could go down, could go sideways means. No edge. You are gambling. You're going to lose more money over time gambling than you are trading with an edge, right? That's what it means. Don't waste your money, in short. Okay, but similar to that, God, now I forgot what I was going to connect to that thought. Oh yeah, coming on my channel, it might sound boring that I'm suggesting sideways price movement for freaking a whole week until next Tuesday. Or no, Monday. Prices start moving on Monday. The day before CPI, I think is on the 3rd. Yeah, CPI is 13th, Monday the 12th, things will start moving. But that's the way it is. Do you prefer that I go on here saying, Bitcoin, I will clickbait you with titles such as Bitcoin to 18,600 question mark, right? But once you get to my channel, I'm going to say, no, this shit's going to go sideways here and do nothing for 7 days. And it's boring. I get it. But at least you're not expecting a massive ass trade. That's not going to happen. So now you know on Bitcoin. So what does this sort of kind of look like? Here, let me make myself small again. So if you can remember what that I'll just go. So the Dow Jones, just visually, Dow Jones and Bitcoin, let's take a look. Right-hand side. So Dow Jones, okay? And remember, these are our two major lines. And this is the middle, right? Okay? All right. And then Bitcoin, major origin line, also an origin line, major horizontal. Are we also just under the middle? Huh. Is that a coincidence? No. Price is being massaged on purpose and it's going to stay there. When can you expect something freaking different to happen? When it breaks out of here. Could it happen tomorrow? Yes. But if you're going to have an edge of something now, the edge is it's going to stay in. And if you're trying to click around with your money, you got to do it within 3%, within a 2% range on Bitcoin. But altcoins may be like an 8%, depending on the altcoin. On Ethereum, probably 3.5, whatever, 4. So you just have to. I'm not suggesting scalping or anything, but you just got to trade lower time frames for a while. That's it. Or just don't trade. Go outside and finish a project, or go inside, finish a house project that you haven't finished. That's it for until next freaking Monday. That's what it all means. Don't waste your money. All right. And that's unfortunately what my call is. Stuck in this triangle. Ooh, the triangle ends before Monday. That could get interesting. Where would it go? Oh, I think I know. So if it falls, yeah, so it might have to fall out on Sunday and then come right here. That's probably what it'll do. Or go like this, break up and then come down on Monday. So regardless, I think a move could start coming on Friday, like this to here, and that's this Friday, or this Friday here to here. I think it just needs to land in the middle of this line and this line, just like stocks. So my guess for the setup, the massage setup, and again, I've been right the last 3 times, so let's see if I get it right this time. Yeah, I'm gonna say the blue box. Right there. It's gonna be, what day is that? Do I have it on the right day? Yep, that's on Tuesday. It's close enough. That's where I think it'll be. How it gets there, kind of irrelevant, because you'll be able to see it with either this line going under it, breaking down, or with this line going above it. And along with this, you will be able to see it as it's happening. Just like when at the Dow Jones, you can very clearly see the rejection from that main line. You will see it happening. And especially if it happens at the intersection of two of them. And you'd have to zoom into the 1 to 5 minute candles to see how they're interacting. Are they generally above the line or generally below? That's it, because you can't see that shit on an hourly candle. You can't see it. You can't get the heads up. And closures are used for fake outs in crypto now that price is completely controlled by market makers from traditional finance. So you can't trust the closures anymore, but the one thing you can trust are the tiny, tiny ass candles, which we've covered so much on my channel, right? Which one did we use last? Did we zoom into this part here? I think we might have. Let's go to the 3 minute chart. Just let me give you a super quick example. Here. Returning viewers, it's always good to hear it one more time. Resistance, because price was below. Got above it. When it came down, where did it pivot? Did it bounce on the line? Yes or no? No. Lower high, did it bounce on the line? Yes. But it was after a lower high. So it's more like a yellow one. It's not a green check mark. It's a question mark. It's more of a question mark, not a check mark. Yeah. So because of the lower high, so you're essentially like it turns into a pennant, right? Higher lows, lower highs. But you don't need this shape. Watch. You don't need it. Had you traded this shape, yeah, it probably would have been profitable, but how long would you have been stuck in that trade before it really moved? Hours. And you're trading a 3 minute chart, that's an eternity. So when would it have been better, right? So now let's take a look. The small candle's on this line. Okay, so it got a bounce good, but it was after a lower high. So now I'm on lower high watch. It'll probably hit this trend line. Boom, hit it. When it came down, did it use this as support? No. So now that you have two lower highs, missed the original support, now you can assume that it'll also be a lower high or it'll get rejected from this line. And that is when you'd want to do it, or on the second one, right here. So in general, it used it as resistance. Am I making sense here? So even zooming way down into here, when it looked like it was wanting to go up, it never used this as support. No support. No support on the line. No support on this line ever. So you could tell it was going to go down. And also, you can tell when price is getting ready to get above a line too, the same thing. Because a lot of times, you'll have a similar fractal where it's generally like this. It's generally, so you generally don't use it as support. And then a few hours or days later, it goes like this and is generally using it as support. And then you realize, shit, now that it's generally using it as support, on the first high or low, I'm expecting higher highs. It's going to take out that high. I'm trading up now. Does that make sense? So just as obvious as it was there, hey, I could tell it's getting ready to fall down because of how the tiny candles interacted with it. You use the same concept, but on these other lines that I'm showing you. You will see something similar at this line or at this line, because this is the edge of the triangle. And you'll see something similar with candles either on that line or the other side of it. The top or the bottom of this guy right here. Candles will make it more obvious. There aren't many fake outs with those tiny ass candles, generally above, generally below. The only time it gets tricky is when it consolidates under and then has a bear trap like this. So didn't even try to use it as support, but you consolidated under. That's generally, and especially if it's, even though it's down, that's kind of a bull flag. So if you see it directly under resistance, but it's generally resistance, you got to take that with a grain of salt, because it is consolidating. But right here, yeah, I would have tried to short that. Sure, it missed it, got rejected. You know, I probably would have waited. I would have waited. I would have waited till almost, I would have tried to enter there. Or I would have tried to enter here and been stopped out. If this had consolidated long enough, I probably would have scrapped my plans, right? But here, as it was just going, I would have expected a down move. But after this time, my short would have been in profit, in profit, in profit. And then I would have had my stop in profit, and I probably would have been stopped out at that point. However, had I not been trying to go for a short here, which that was a good time to do it, after this happens, you just realize, hey, there is a chance that it flies through because it just consolidated perfectly at the same angle. Do you see the angle? Look, the angle's the same. So obviously, what's going on there is the market makers who planned this downturn to dump price into their longs on futures, and then they on spot bought, so they could essentially guarantee a profitable trade. That's what happened here. Is they were reading the market book. When does the market book get thinner? When does it get thinner? When does it get thinner? Okay, it's getting thinner. All right, let's drop price into our longs now. We don't have to use so much money to market buy through that line. That's all that was happening. It was literally looking up at an order book, waiting for it to thin up. That's what this is. Okay? So, but it can get kind of tricky because what is the same idea didn't use it as support rejection. It kept going sideways and it consolidated at the same angle. So then after a while, after about 5 hours of this, in a trade and you haven't really gotten too much in profit, but you're in profit, you're like, man, it's consolidating perfectly under that resistance. I'm out. Okay. So that kind of stuff could happen at these lines as well. But I'm telling you right now, with the sideways movement, it's all about the low time frames. And so therefore you should be able to see the absolute beginning. It's like going to Africa is it Uganda? Or where does the main Nile River start? Anyway, it's like going to the beginning of a river. It's obvious it's starting there, right? Like, it's a special moment and it grows into something bigger and you got to see the beginning of it, right? So there's not gonna be anything big happening in here. It's gonna happen here or here. So because we'll be able to see on the small candles, you're gonna be able to see the beginning of a new river or the beginning of a new river. Just like going, I think it might be Uganda. I really, my geography is awful. Out of the fields of study, history and geography, I'm pretty bad relative to how I consider myself in other areas. But anyway, so that's what we got. Boringness, and if the boring ends, you will be able to see it here or here. And it'll be obvious, and you'll be able to tell before it happens. You'll be able to catch the river before it goes, but expect sideways. Don't expect big trades until this right here happens. 13th, 15th, economic data in between, up and down volatility. It'll likely be in the middle, and that's what we got for Bitcoin.